Ready.
Calling to order, this is Molly Schnabel calling to order the March 26th meeting of the Whitman Historic Commission, 22 Town Hall, 22. All right, we're going to start with the correspondence and try to make it as quick. The first piece of information that came in was appointing Mary Joyce to the Board of Selectmen have appointed her as a full member of the Historic Commission. Have you been able to go down to?
Not yet. I'm scheduling it next week.
Okay.
Mike can swear me.
I could have done it tonight. I didn't know. Sorry.
That's right.
We could have done it here.
Does it have?
No, it doesn't matter. She's a member anyway as an associate right now until she gets one in.
And then our next one came in March 13th is the letter, and you've seen. I sent you an email from the Mass Historic Commission saying that we received the grant as the Abington. So we now have. So this is. I want to read this to you because.
Do you know how much Abington's was for? I'm just thinking competitively speaking.
Yeah.
If it was less or more.
Do you know who's?
Ken Coyle is the chair. I can email him and find out what their dollar amount was.
Well, it used to be. It used to be the person who's in charge of the Old Abington Historic Society. So, and it's a different person now. So, interesting, somebody new to work with. On March 13th, this letter was sent, and it's from Brona Simon, who is the Executive Director of the State Historic Preservation Office for the Mass Historic Commission. I am pleased to inform you that your proposed project has been selected for an allocation of $20,000 from the Massachusetts Historical Commission's FY 2024 Survey and Planning Grant Program. This award will support the Whitman Inventory of Historic Resources too. Please keep in mind that project work can begin only after the MHC executes a contract with you that specifies the scope of grant-assisted work and defines responsibilities and deadlines under applicable laws and regulations. Please respond in writing to Michael Steinitz, MHC Deputy State Historic Preservation Officer, no later than Friday, April 12th, that your intention to accept the grant allocation. MHC will contact all local project coordinators in April and will schedule a coordinators meeting by Zoom in May to review the provisions and requirements of the granted contract, to discuss your work program, and to discuss consultant procurement procedures. Attendance at this meeting is mandatory for all local project coordinators. As a condition of the grant, a local project coordinator's manual will be forwarded to you separately. The MHC looks forward to working with you toward the successful completion of your project. Please contact Michael Steinitz at MHC with any questions regarding the grant program of this award. We sincerely hope that this grant allocation will help you achieve your preservation goals. And I presented that to the Finance Committee tonight. Very excited. So I think the big thing is to try to figure out what they mean by this contract. That we have to do.
I think you'll find out more at that Zoom meeting. I mean, that's what they'll probably go over.
I don't. They haven't scheduled the Zoom meeting, but we have to have the contract in by April 12th. Oh. So that's.
Or do we have to say we're accepting the grant? I think.
Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it. I figured I'd wait till today in today's meeting with the selectmen to contact Mary Beth to set up an appointment with her because I believe she's going to have to sign it too.
Also, it's a matching grant, so I know they have to set up something unique in the accountant's office because you don't get paid money from the MHC grant till it's done. Yep. I'm not familiar with it, but they are, which I'm saying. So Mary Beth probably is too because she's with the treasure collector. So.
Yeah, I talked to Paula today.
Okay.
And she said that once this letter came in, to give a copy of this and the email to her, and then she'll start the works on it as far as it goes. But she said the contract part of it is necessary. So she's been very helpful. So that's good information. And then I'm starting a new file for anything that's dealing with the grant. And I imagine that there's something over in those boxes that show what they did the last time, and I'll take a look at those. Other correspondence. I got a letter from Rebecca Bates MacArthur, former member of the Cohasset Historic Commission. And it says, in cleaning out my old Historic Commission files, I found these papers, which the Whitman Historic Commission shared with the Cohasset Historic Commission when the trains were reactivated. How long ago was that? At that time, there was a note that you wanted some of these pictures returned. I do not know if they ever were. They weren't. Sorry it has taken so long to return them, if this is true. I am also sending you some cards from the Whitman Sons of Union Veterans. I am hoping someone in the commission will know who should get them as part of your town history. We have the Sons of Union until they open, the stuff that's in the armory, which I'll report on later. But so this is one of the reasons we have the forms for signing out, so that we know what has and has not been returned. Mm-hmm. So that'll go back into the files. And that's it for correspondence, I think.
When the trains were activated?
Yeah.
When is that referring to?
It was in the mid-'80s, I think, because I have a pennant above my desk and it has the date on it when the old Colony line restarted. It was a celebration.
Are they Old Colony? They didn't start at the same time we did.
I didn't know the old Colony. Oh, you mean for Cohasset's, the Greenbush line? Is that what you're saying?
They're the Greenbush.
Oh, I don't know them.
Greenbush came in quite a few years later because.
So I didn't know if they're referring to ours or theirs.
Greenbush was in my lifetime.
Right.
Well,
so you're.
What's the fine freight year?
So my son was born in 1981. You might be interested in these because these are pictures of down at the train station. And it's funny because I was talking to Donald Cann. I had dinner with him last night, and he said, down at the end of the train station, there's this. And then I found this today in the mailbox, and I thought, that's interesting. Here you might want to take a look at that, Sean, because these go back to 2014. But I know that I was commuting on the train on the old Colony line. Hingham and Cohasset and Scituate fought the coming into the train because it came near their historic buildings. The ones in Hingham are literally from here to there from the train, kind of like the depot is in Abington. Mm-hmm. So, at any rate, I think that's it for our correspondence. Mike, do you want to do the budget?
Sure. I will pass it around. You can just grab one. There is no activity, so that will make it. Let me get some place on that way.
So,
there you go.
Thank you.
The general fund balance has $500 in it still. The gift account, there was no activity between December and March, so it still has $1259.52. And the Gold Star sign account has $935.77 because there was no activity on that as well.
So, is there any? Are there any restrictions on the money that comes in the other two accounts?
The gift account and the Gold Star sign account. There was no restrictions when we set up the gift account. It just has to be used towards something that is historical in nature. The Gold Star sign account, when we set that up, that was just used for the veteran street signs that are erected above the actual street signs.
Okay, so this brings up to another situation. I talked with Shannon. I think I may have it on here. Yeah,
You do? Yep.
I do. So we'll talk about it later. But I talked to Paula about the best ways to be able to spend money, and she said she didn't think that getting a credit card was a good idea. She said it would be better for us to find out where we have accounts from the town. And she gave me a printout of stuff, which we should go over. But the reason is, if you use a credit card, she said, you're not going to be able to use the tax-free. And she said, and that can make a big difference. And then some of the, I want to start spending. And I'm one of those people that's like, why do we have money if we're not going to spend it? I want to have better equipment in here. So first of all, I think, I don't know if I have it on the agenda, but the senior center has given us those 2 cabinets that I've talked about, and I'm going to meet with Todd about those. But one of the things that I want to do is, with what Lauren is doing, is I want to get like some of the conservation things, conservation rolls to be able to put maps in, so that we can easily pick up things from. I want to get rid of this because I think it's terrible, and see. I'll ask Todd if he has anything else with that. But moving this forward, when we've been talking about it, and we'll talk about it later, is to plans for this office, but trying to figure out where we can start using some of this money. Do you know where is we've only used the Harding group before? I've got the papers from what Paula printed everything out for me as to where we've had stuff before.
Use the Hardy group for what?
We used
the supplies.
Looks like we used It looked like we used Harding for our supplies.
We did. They no longer do that service because it didn't make financial sense for them because people were ordering it from WB Mason. I did set up an account with us at WB Mason. I checked it today. I just have to. I'm going to contact the guy tomorrow. You can just order it from their website. You know what I'm saying with our login information. I just want to make sure what I did was I fake ordered paper just to see if it was going to have the tax included, and it does. So I have to contact him to find out how that gets not included.
Great.
And then I think he can just bill it to us.
Okay, good. Because I think there are things like there are several books in there that should be in acid-free containers, and I want to get acid-free containers for the maps. We have some maps. We have a lot of different paper things that are in here.
Yeah.
We also have quite a few pictures, so I want to be able to somehow or another store those. And I'll check once you get that set up. If you let me know, then I'll start looking at it to see if we can, if it has stuff that we need. We have not inventoried anything in there except for the Martha Campbell. And one of the things that's in an acid-free box, which is really a great thing, is everybody who died at home. And I went over to...
When you say everybody, I'm just asking, what does that mean to everybody who died at home?
Cyrus Nash kept a list of all the people going back to the 1700s who died in their homes.
In South Abington or...
Yeah. It's in...
I don't mean you to make... I just didn't know what you meant by it.
It's...
Whitman deaths.
It's so easy. Yeah. Well, it's Old Abington.
Right.
Oh, that's a new book. So we've got several of these boxes that haven't been used, but they should be laying flat because they're...
Yeah.
And Joe Conley was trying to figure out his house, which is somewhat older than what it was thought to be. And as we get moving with the grant, to be able to preserve things that we find, this is one of the big deals to do this and to have things stored appropriately in here. But the other thing, I was going to ask Todd, and you may know this, I don't know. I'd like to see getting rid of some of this stuff and put a counter around here that we can work at. And that when they're doing research, that it's easy to do research from. And then we have down there to bring this table down that have a work area here with storage maybe underneath it or whatever. But I don't think that we would be shooting the budget to do that. So.
Yeah. I don't know. That sounds like... I don't know. When we purchase furniture... we don't furnish that often. But I know Frank had an account, I'm saying, that was for furniture purchases. So if we needed chairs, we didn't order the chairs. The selectman's office ordered the chairs. So I don't know what they have for a line for that.
Who should I talk to about that? Would that be Kathy?
You could go through Kathy or Mary Beth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I have to meet with Mary Beth about the contract...
I'll also speak to my department chair to see when the last time she purchased... we purchased a chair, I think, recently. and see who
Is it
she.
capital money maybe instead of.
I don't know what the line item count is. I'm saying what it came out of, but I'll ask her.
I'm familiar with all that. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
So why don't you take that over with him?
Wow.
You just signed yourself up for that.
Not here.
No, I mean, I know, but you probably would be able to, the two of you would probably be able to figure it out fine. So I don't, it would be something that I wouldn't have to really be all that involved. But,
Yeah.
whether you order it because you're the treasurer or
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
I can certainly give you the list of the things and then you take
Yeah,
care of it.
Sure, I
That would be-
research and see what the
Yeah.
prices on stuff. The other thing is if you want to do some, I knew you were talking about Todd, you might even want to consider, if you have an idea, I'm saying contacting South Shore Votech and see what they can do if if our hands are tied here because there's not enough staff to do that.
Yeah.
Because they would do something for the town much more reasonable. They would do it for the town because we're a member community and it would be reasonable. I think they just pay. You just pay for the supplies. I beg your pardon.
Isn't,
Mr. Salvucci is
Salvucci, yeah.
the representative of the board.
I was confused those two.
And they have a potential building project coming up. So they're very responsive anyway, but they might be extra responsive because they are looking for support.
Yeah, I know.
I hope I said that delicately.
You did.
Mary's looking for you.
It's the cash.
I just wanted you to know I'm all
I've been
set.
asleep tonight.
Because my friend worries so much about me. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, so I think I'd like to get it so that it's easier for us to be able to do some of the research and to be able to.
I love the idea of the two ideas. One, the workstation and the storage underneath it.
Yeah.
That's efficient using of
Yeah.
space,
Yeah. And I don't think I did it in an office at Northeastern. I had a really bad office. And I don't know when it came to me that this would work in here. And I can remember the dean coming in going, "You shot my budget!" And, terrible things. And I'm like, so I don't think so. We had a grant. We were running on a grant.
I don't know if I'm talking out of turn, but I did think of you 2 days ago. We got a catalog from Mass Core, which is the Mass
Yeah.
Correctional,
Yep.
and they showed this beautiful map organizer. And I said, "Oh, Molly would fall in love with this. It looked beautiful."
Can we order?
I have no idea what the cost is. No, there was no price associated with anything. I was going to call it.
So you're going to find out.
I will find out.
Aren't you?
It was beautiful.
No,
It was like-
They
and
do
I said,
great
and I
work.
said,
That's
"Wow."
another thing
that-
because that's what
Upholstery and
Bridgewater
stuff
State
really
did
Yeah.
for all their dorm furniture and whatnot. Is
They went to
Mass Core.
Yeah. They used to be cheap, but
Yeah,
I haven't done it.
they didn't put the price in the catalog, so that made me feel,
exactly.
they're not,
Mhm.
Anyway, so I can look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if they have a map organizer, we're going to go to Lorna in a few minutes about things that she's done on her project, which is really great. Okay, so I think we have plenty of money here to do, to get the supplies that we need to protect the paperwork that we bring in.
Yeah.
And I think that we should be prepared because once we start with the grant, I'd like us to be up and running and ready for any research that, whoever we get to do the
Yeah,
research.
and they do use this office, not all the time, but they do stop in and use this office. And the other good thing is that we're towards the end of the fiscal year, so we have 500 now, but we have 500 in July. So it's when we're
split.
ordering, we really have 1,000 if you look at it in those terms.
Right. And are we able to, even if we have everything and we haven't ordered it, can we encumber the money from this budget?
You can. I don't know the process that they.
It makes it a
Let's
little
find
more,
out
it's
the
a little more
process.
complicated.
But it's not that bad. I've encumbered money before. I have.
Yeah.
And it's wording that it's like people are encumber. What does that mean? So,
I know that word well.
Hmm?
I know that word well.
Yeah, I know. So, but that even if we haven't spent it, but I'd like to spend this as we move into July, and of course, the grant will start at that time too. So. I'm really excited about the grant, but I'm scared to death.
Yeah.
So,
It's a learning process for us all.
Yeah.
I was on it before, but I can't remember all of the itty bitty details because we didn't take care of a lot of the details because the assistant town administrator was kind of heading up the project until everything was set, and then Marie took over as a project coordinator when
mhm.
we were all set up and established.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's
No.
it's just it's a massive amount of
Yeah.
work.
And the good thing is they wouldn't know what they're doing because we're hiring somebody that has done these projects before when we do finally pick
Right.
somebody. Yeah.
And the other thing too, when we'll talk about it a little bit
Sure.
later. But so we've got the financial report. Okay, so we'll move on because otherwise we'll be here all night. Okay, so do we want to accept the treasurer's report?
I move that we accept the treasurer's report as written.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
So it's unanimous. Why is it that I don't have on here the acceptance of the minutes?
I don't know.
It should be on there, on the agenda. So taking something that is not on the agenda, we have to accept the minutes. And those are in your folders that I
Yeah.
gave you. And I don't know if any of you got a chance. I'm sure you didn't get a chance. I sent them on. I'm sorry. A little bit late.
You told us to read them in advance, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. They look great.
I think they look great. The one thing that I want to say about this, do you all like this? The way she?
Yeah, I do.
narrated?
Like, good.
Okay.
They're not typical traditional minutes as you would normally find them. I'm saying they're very in an organized manner.
Both Mary and I have used this model before.
What do you call this model?
I just
An action kind of?
yeah, it's an action type thing where you have the topic, the discussion, and then what has to be followed up.
Right.
And then if it comes out as quickly as possible after the meeting, and then halfway between that and the next meeting, then you're reminded of what you have to do, and then because who the heck remembers everything? You don't.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us do. I certainly don't.
And it's funny, we used to have somebody, doesn't matter who it is, but she used to use the minutes from the previous meeting as the jumping off point for the agenda, but it was not in this fashion. It was
Right.
one of those verbatim kind of things, and it was very challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is very structured.
Yeah. So the one thing that I'd like to see with this that would be changed in the attendees, it should be their last name there, and under owner or topic, it should be the initial and the last name, and then you can go to
Gotcha.
because when you had it before, you had like Molly did or so forth, but it needs to indicate who's the owner and then who's speaking.
Gotcha.
So that needs to be clear because we have M. Joyce, we have M. Schnabel, we have M. Simmons, we have
Yep.
M.
Ganscher.
Ganscher. He's in everything. So
All right. First name and then initial and last name and the follow-up
Right.
action item. Okay. Perfect.
and I
And
found
first-
one typo. I think.
Oh, I didn't see it. Good for you, Molly.
Well, I used to. Have
You're gonna get
proofread
points.
Stuff all the time,
No
so,
demerits tonight.
Now I'm trying to look fast. Where did she see it?
I corrected it, which is a problem.
Oh.
When you
I
first
corrected
printed
it on
it.
my.
Oh,
my
okay.
copy.
That you sent out.
Yeah,
Okay.
So it's been corrected.
Okay. Then.
Okay.
It was
Then it really never existed, did it?
No, it did.
Nope. It's
It was
corrected.
something like stay, say,
Yeah,
something like that.
I blame Microsoft.
You can blame whatever. I mean, if there's one error, that's all. Who cares?
Okay.
Those types of things don't worry me. The things that really worry me is when they're personal statements.
Yep.
That if it goes, because these have to go on the internet, don't they?
No, we
You
they get
file
filed in the clerk's office. People are encouraged to put them on the town website, but it's not a requirement. And most of the people that are in volunteer boards don't really have access to the town website. There, I said what I have said. So you might find selectmen meetings minutes. You might find theirs on there, but that's because someone in the selectman's office has access to the
Gotcha.
website, whereas nobody here does. I do because I work in the clerk's office.
and that's not part of the open meeting law.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
So I'll
We were
correct
actually,
it.
you have to file it with us.
Yeah.
You are actually responsible for the minutes. So if you didn't file them with us, and somebody requested the minutes, it's the historical commission that would be responsible for it. And there has been an instance in Hanson, it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, where the board did not file minutes, and they had to go back and try to reconstruct the minutes as best that they could, according to the Attorney General. And I heard it was painful.
It's extremely painful. The League of Women Voters closed down Rockland doing it.
Wow.
And that was back. Pam Ryan's father was the selectman. It was he who. They were doing too much in executive session, so they went to, and when you drop the dime on it, it's the district attorney's office.
It changed. So
Is it now the Attorney
from
General?
2010 on, it's now the Attorney General has the jurisdiction, where it was the district attorneys prior to that.
So, excuse me.
So I will update the names and send the new version if that's all right.
Yep.
That works. Great. And let me know if you find any other.
Actually, you may not have to do that because I did it.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Right, she said she changed it. That's why I said it never really existed.
This one.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, March. There's one.
Oh, jeez.
Congratulations.
Where are we going?
On the other side of the page. Meeting was rescheduled to March.
Oh,
26th.
it's
Sorry.
backside. Okay.
Oh, I spelled March wrong. Oh, God, thank you.
Oh.
Damn,
So now you can do it.
Got it. All right, I will. Well, hey, not bad for my first one.
No.
All right, perfect.
All
Great.
right.
Yay. Thank you all.
Would somebody like to suggest we accept the minutes?
I'll do more than that. I move we accept the minutes as presented.
There we go.
I'm not even going to suggest it.
All right. Thank you. Do we have a vote?
A second.
Okay. Sean Simmons has seconded it after my damn shirt. And now vote.
Aye.
Unanimous to accept.
Yay.
Okay. Now we move into the funds.
Oh, yes.
What do you mean?
See
Oh
what-
yeah.
I just said, oh, yes. I don't know.
You know, on the recorder, they're going to hear the tone of your voice.
As it's pointed out.
Okay. Demolition delays
Yeah.
in other towns.
I did a little research, not as much as I would have liked, but with the help of the Mass Historical Commission, I found out that about 60 cities and towns in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts have demolition delays. I've gathered a little information. I'd like to do a little more research on it,
Okay.
and I'll share it at another time with detailed information with the group. I was surprised that I reached out to Quincy. Quincy doesn't have a demolition delay. It's all historic. I want to get back to him on why.
That's surprising.
I was surprised. He was very cooperative and he helped me out a lot, pointing me in the right direction.
It's kind of like with Hingham, them not knowing, the Hingham Historic Commission had no idea that this ordinance about building affordable housing within the train station.
We got to a
Multifamily.
conversation about that. I spoke. He was I'm going to contact his supervisor. He was very cooperative and very helpful. I have his email, and he was a pleasure to speak with, and he was very knowledgeable from the planning board on the city of Quincy.
So I have to ask, did you enjoy talking? You enjoyed talking with them?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
there's a couple of towns that didn't know which direction I wanted to go in.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But the thing is that to me is part of the fun of the projects that we're doing is enjoying it, learning more.
You were exactly where I was coming from.
Yeah.
I'm one of those nerds that likes history and
I think we're going to find a lot more people are interested in it.
And he seemed like a young guy too. Not taking anything away from this guy. Yeah, but he seemed like a young guy.
You mean the baby?
Yeah.
The young gentleman.
Yeah,
He knew what he was talking
Young
about.
gentleman.
I have some information. I'll share it all the time.
Okay.
Okay, great.
And I'll continue.
Continue research. Okay.
To see
When you're
what-
ready to
what-
when you're
what
ready
it will
to
place-
present it, then we'll
what
make
will-
it a major thing on the agenda.
What it will take to put one
Yeah.
in place in Whitman.
And when we do get involved in it, maybe we could actually ask a builder, you know what I'm saying, what frightens you about it? You know what I'm saying, what hesitations would you have? You know what I'm saying? Find out what the other side is concerned about.
One of the people that would be really good to do this with is John Hornster because he was the first one who
sure.
asked it. And I think that when I was presenting over here, there are two areas that we have two places that are on the National Register, one being
Yeah.
Hornster's and the other one being the Regal. And there's a grant where once they're on that register, you can get money to repair.
Yeah.
And one of my wake up in the middle of the night and have a brilliant idea routines is that the silo be restored, which is what I think he's afraid that they'll have to take down. But if we could get the money to help with restoring that and make it into an observatory for the high school, it would be a win-win-win situation.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and he's very familiar with them because he comes from Hingham. And Hingham has an airtight one. Whereas West Bridgewater feels that theirs isn't strong enough. I know that from when I first started doing the research on that. Okay. Submission of the grant to the MHC, I don't know why that's on there. I think I just didn't take it off of another agenda.
Sure.
Because now we know we have it.
Yeah.
And I will let you all know once I talk to Mike Steinitz and Mary Beth about the contract. I'll send you guys emails on it. I'll keep you posted as to what we're doing as we move forward in this month.
Yeah.
Because then we'll have to all get involved.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to try to see if when we do the Zoom meeting, if everybody can be on that.
Right.
I think that
Even if we have to have it here and be in a central location and only one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's one of the things that does the town have? Do we have a contract for Zoom?
We do. I believe so. Yes, I think you have to go through the selectman's office, Laurie, because when they were having Zoom meetings and they were public hearings and the public needed access to them, I know you had to go through their office for that kind of stuff. Otherwise, the Zoom meetings were during COVID were organized by Whitman Cable access.
So that would make sense that we use that because Mary Beth would. Or I would imagine Kathy Keefe would be in
Sure.
on the meeting with that.
Sure.
So that if we set it up at the selectman's office or however.
Or upstate over there, yeah.
Yeah.
The meeting room, yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so stay tuned. Watch your emails.
Calendar.
Watch me bang my head against a brick wall. Okay. And that, I reread some of the stuff that we have to do as we start, but I'll report that in a much more structured thing as I talk to him. So, or her. I guess she says talk to Mike Steinitz, so she must be his boss. I don't know. All right, so Facebook pages and web access.
Yes, so I have access to Facebook. I'm still waiting on access to Twitter and Instagram. I've been following up daily.
With the IT department.
Yeah, with the IT
And
department.
do other departments use Twitter or
Some
Instagram?
do,
They do.
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And
Like
then-
who? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but I know
Okay.
other commissioners do
Sorry,
too. And they said that, so like, yes, we'll set it up. And I was like, well, let's set up time. You
Yeah.
can set up a Zoom meeting, Teams meeting for you to show me how you want me to access it. And then I got well, can you explain again why you need this? And so I explained about the grant. So hopefully tomorrow or the next day they'll set up time because they're on Friday. No, they only work 8 to 4 because on Monday through Friday. So hopefully not. But what I did was in your packet, I set out what I call a content calendar for a social media channel. So it's one of the last. Oh, did you not get?
Not yet. That's my own folder.
Oh, sorry.
I got it. Thank you.
So I basically, what's our goals for using the social media channels? It's I think it's the last one because I sent it this morning
Sure.
to Molly. There you go.
Oh, I'll find it. Don't you worry.
You'll find it. Yep.
Okay, there.
Lots of
got it,
paper
got it.
cuts
Thank
today.
you.
Lots of paper cuts. So basically, what I did was, what's the goals of how we're going to use the social media channels? I said reintroduce the commission and its mission, purpose, and members. Discuss projects and project status. Share info on Whitman historical sites and request info, artifacts, volunteers for various projects. And then I set out from April until September, kind of what things we want to do in Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So take a look at it, get me feedback. That's it. Yep. Send me some feedback on it. But basically, here's something we can do a Happy Patriots Day from the Whitman Historical Commission. So I can do little memes and stuff so that we get that out there. And Happy 4th of July and Favors Day. And then, we'll highlight commission members. So that's why if you answer those 5 questions from the action items on the note. And then I figure in May we can do the info about Marie's memorial piece too. But take a look at it. I did it out to September because we can figure out if it's working or not and where we need to pivot maybe on content, and we'll be kind of closer to what we need to do with our grant and the project work.
Actually, I don't, as far as I can tell, I don't see any reason not to approve this now.
Oh, it's up to you. Yeah.
What do you all think?
That's a great idea.
I think it's a start.
Yeah.
And B, we can't lose because we're doing nothing.
Yeah.
True.
So,
And I mapped it out for every 2 weeks, but we can do it more often if once we get more activity and stuff going on. But I figured every 2 weeks it'll.
so when you do the Happy Patriots Day from the commission, would you be saying like Happy Patriots Day? Would you have something about Patriots?
Yeah, you might have a tidbit fact. or
Yeah,
something
I
like
might ask folks to give me tidbits
So I
facts, and then I
think-
can do a little get a little
Yeah.
graphic too
Sure.
to add to it. Yeah.
I think one of the things that would be good is the starting of the rock tour, like just taking, I think you took a picture down behind the nail
I
salon.
did. Yeah.
If you say, did you know that there's a rock in town that has this information on it? Can you find it? And check in with us later and then put it in.
that. And I loved
That
when the
works.
Globe used to do the before, the present day and the past one, when you do
Yeah.
two
Oh.
pictures of a site back to back, so you can
Right.
see
Yep.
what it looked like 100 years ago and what it looks like now. You know,
Yep.
I
Then
find that
Great idea.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. But take a look. I figure our goals. We'll
Yep.
keep it simple now, and then get more.
There's so much content that can go on there,
So much content.
and I just hope the IT department doesn't get worried or concerned about. We just want to share it with people.
Yeah.
Their enthusiasm for
we
what.
won't do anything too
They have on
too
here.
controversial.
They have on here the Buzz,
Yes, I
and the
love
Buzz
the buzz.
has history comments in it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, and they take a lot from
Yeah, that's
Mass
right.
Historical and from Dyer. I've noticed that. Yeah,
Yeah.
They have a
What's the buzz? Listen to
it's an e-magazine,
Yeah, I like
e newsletter that comes out weekly.
Yeah.
Call it what you
so
will.
it's
that. From the town. From the town.
No, it's a private company. She does it for multiple towns,
Okay.
though.
she actually has
Jackie
an
is her name.
intern
From the high school, is that right?
from the high school. Yeah, it's called Buzz Around, and it's I have 1,251 Buzz Arounds.
You've
Want to
saved
come
them
in
all.
and remove them for me? So it's remarkable because it
Yeah.
has on this one, which was put on Sunday.
The one about the Linden House.
Yeah,
Yeah, and she does it. And she has a trivia question at the end, so you see if you read the particular article.
Yeah. So take a look at that Buzz Around too, because
Yeah.
you might find stuff.
Yes,
Yeah, there's some great stuff, and pictures
Yeah.
and stuff that we can borrow. No.
and she'll borrow from you. So there
Perfect.
you go.
That works. Yep. So, all right, if folks like this, I'll add
Love
the
it.
tidbit piece, and then, again, we'll get better as we can get info on Marie, get a little profile for when we're
Oh, that's
talking
great.
about a memorial. Yeah, we could just highlight everybody
I have a picture of Marie
on what we're
here,
trying to do. Do we take a picture of the picture?
and and that came from Ken. Okay, so we've approved. Do we want to vote to approve this?
Well, I'd like to change, have those things added.
Mhm.
I'd like to see more about history in Whitman.
Yeah.
Than who the members are. I mean,
Okay.
just talking with somebody that is looking at Facebook and not a commission member.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the first things I look at.
It is the first thing.
Yeah.
She puts it at the top anyway,
Yeah.
but you got to read that first. Yeah.
Okay. So
I'd
are
like to
you
see
saying
more,
that you would?
like the Linden House? Talk about the gurney or some interesting historical facts about places like the rock tour. Those are all just stones, but I mean
They represent
the
something.
buildings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
So are you saying not to do anything about the commission members?
no, I'm just thinking you can, but I think it's more
I think
important
that's a
to do
one-time
historical.
shot on doing that.
Okay.
Because I think one of the things that's good about it is, I understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
I would agree with you. However, one of the things that we're having to do, I like Mary's idea about doing it because we're rebuilding the commission, and the commission when One of the things that I found very obvious when writing the report and going in front of the finance committee is none of this has been done. They just don't seem to think we exist. And I think the more they know who the members are, that it starts taking on reality. But I think it only needs to be done once.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't think I would care to know who I am. I mean,
But one of the but at the same time, it makes. So one of the things that would be really good is to start. You have more knowledge of the history of the town, so start feeding Mary some of the things that you think should be on there.
Perfect.
Because she and I are the ones who really don't know how these two don't know anything.
A Storchester.
He's just like, what? Are you talking about me?
Yeah, feed me stuff, and we can add it to the calendar. Not a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking when talking to the finance committee that they were really surprised about the Goulding Springs, and if you and Elaine hadn't remembered it, we wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were like, wow, this was really good that you incorporated this in the letter to the state. So I think you guys, we depend on you to come up with things that you can think about in the town that other people wouldn't know. And that's like talking to the assessor about the houses that your father built. Do you know how old your house is?
My house is
74, I
built in
think.
1978.
So I think 1978 was your father building that?
yeah.
I think her father built it.
Oh, is that right?
What road are you on?
Old High Street.
Old, yes. Yeah, he didn't know.
There's two buildings.
two.
There's two buildings there that are similar. Around 1970, they were built in 1978.
What was your father's name?
He was L.W. Holbrook. Leslie.
L.W. Leslie.
L.W.
Okay,
Holbrook
I know
Construction
Leslie. I know
Company.
the name. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So I had asked Lorna to see if she could come up with the names or the addresses of her father's houses, because they're now historic. You know, we think of historic as being, the 200-year-old houses, but anything that's over 50 years, that's historic.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that because when I turned 50, somebody gave me a shirt that said,
You're historic.
"You can now be registered with the historic." Thank you. So I'm so happy.
Away. Oh God.
But that okay. So we agreed to this.
And we'll add more historical info tidbits
Okay.
as we go, and then if team members can send me items to add,
Yeah.
I can keep adding them. It'll be a running list. We won't just stop in September. We'll keep going. So
Okie doke.
awesome. I'll update and make it final.
I love the way I just sit through paper.
Not me.
The next thing on the agenda. So we're agreeing with what you're doing with that. So that's fine.
We'll get it started and pivot where we need to and update.
Okay. So here comes a big one. The CPA grant for plaques. What do you all think about voting on who we decide? Should we wait till the next meeting or decide on who we want to have do the plaques?
Oh, the vendor.
Yep, the vendor.
Why don't you do it next meeting? Is that okay? You can give us
Do it
whatever
the next
information.
meeting?
Yeah. In
Okay,
advance.
so I'll give you, and that way we will have already talked to them, but I think we can move forward with getting the plaques for the places that have already been surveyed, some of
Gotcha,
the oldest
yeah.
ones. And to do that, I think that when, whichever vendor, if we have them do it ahead of time, and then we have an event where we invite those people that are going to have the plaques come in, give them the plaques with a copy of their survey of their property, and then have the newspaper and TV cover it.
With the timeline being, it has to get approved at town meeting, and then the money's unavailable until July 1st in the next fiscal year.
Right.
July 1st. Okay, great. And then so Molly, you'll provide info on all vendors that have submitted.
Yeah, I think you all actually have them
Yeah.
from, but I'll give them to you again.
Sure.
Because we voted
Yep.
on the three that we put in to that.
In our next meeting, we'll vote for final vendor. Perfect.
Right, and town meeting is in May.
Town meeting.
So
Great.
once it goes through town meeting, then we can hire them and get going with it. But we can also take a look at, as we go, which ones we want to do the plaques with. I think the oldest house in town should definitely get one. Which is the guy up on High Street that has a brick front.
Yep.
I believe that's a pool place. Okay, so I'll do that for, I'll be in charge of that for next one, then I'll give you all the information on those three. I may actually send that to you by email.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that you
that's
can
fine.
look at it
in
ahead of
advance,
time, and then we
That'd
can
be
move these meetings along faster.
Yep.
Okay, the procedural manual. It's all yours, Mia.
Okay, so again, in your packet, Molly and I kind of got together and brainstormed kind of topics we'd want to put in. So there we go, sample table of contents.
That's my goal, sorry.
A sample table of contents, topics to include in Whitman Historical Commission manual.
Well, I'm gonna have to
And again, brainstorming, background, current commission members, commission meetings, commission projects, potential funding sources for the commission. I've got other topics we want to add. Key reports and timing, because we want to make sure we're generating them. Commission interaction with key stakeholders. So again, I went busy with my templates. So if you look at this, there's a little matrix in the document where it's called Whitman Historical Commission Involvement Matrix.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Yep. So, what's the scenario? Who are our key players? And then when do we need to get them involved when we're doing that? So that's interaction, key stakeholders. Then we got basic logistic stuff about printing documents, proposals, access to town hall off hours, ordering supplies, and then commission social media channels. So just wanted to, again, brainstorm quickly what you would include in a manual, and then each topic we'd build it out and map it out, like document as we go. Like make sure it's thick. It's not just one pager, but here's the history of the Whitman Historical Commission. Here's the commission makeup. Here's a process for applying to become a member, and talk about commission meetings, projects, etc., etc. So we have this manual that we can have for any new members coming in, and as we
It might be interesting too. You put town report. You might want to list the last 10 town report. Like it's only a 1-page thing,
Exactly,
but
yeah.
it summarizes what the
Yep.
historical commission has done for the last 10 years.
Yep. Again, just trying to figure
Or
out
hasn't done. Be that what it may.
Yep. So again, take a look at it, but we figured it'd be a good start as we build out this kind of manual so folks can have it.
Are you still on the content? Which one are you on?
We looked at the content quickly, and then
Okay.
we went to the involvement matrix with the key stakeholders.
Okay.
So if you think of any other topics to include, it's working draft document as we go. We can add, delete, change, but we figured it's a good start to start documenting this stuff and making sure that we're. Any questions?
Nope. I'm sure there's things we need to add to it, but I
Always.
can't think of them at the time.
Yep. Take a look. Sleep on it. Email me.
Yeah, do you want to do that? You've got these now.
Yeah.
Look them over, mark
Yeah.
them, bring them in for the next time. Or if you think of any other forms.
Sure.
Yep.
I know it's a lot to go over in a meeting. I mean, this is a full agenda, and I'm sorry. I've looked them over. I tend to think that I think you've done a great job. There are things that like the sign out sheet, things like that. I mean, we need to have like a binder that has all of this in it, so that
I think I saw that log. Yeah.
it seems like We had a guy that used to stand up as the head of studies when I was in high school, and it took us 2.5 seconds to start calling him Charlie Charts, and so I started thinking Mary Charts.
God.
It,
Charlie
it,
and the
It
MBTA.
seems like it's an overkill, but at the
Yeah.
same time, then you have some kind of an idea, and I think as we start working with people from the state,
Yeah.
it's a necessary thing.
Yep. So the other things we have in here for
You look
templates.
like you don't agree.
No, I do.
Yeah. We got the call log, email log, so that we can track as things come in. A status report for the various projects we're working on. So just a template so we can manage milestones, dates, progress, so we can make sure that we're keeping everything on track. We got a document checkout sheet, commission member or whatever, but tracking it so it's a little more formal than the piece of paper, so we know when things come back 8 years later we can find them, and then just basic policy stuff that we can document. Again, this is a simple template. I want to simplify it a little bit more, but it was something that I just pulled together quickly.
Can we also include, as far as processes go, maybe
Yeah.
the process you want to use when somebody contacts and wants to donate something? To
Yes.
saying, how does it flow? Where does it go to? And I'm using a lot of hands there. The public can't see that, but yeah.
No, that's
But that involves me a lot because
Yeah.
what do they call? They call town hall and they call the clerk's office. And then I happen to be on the historical commission. I don't share that with everybody. Jim's saying
Yeah.
I just try to filter out what kind of stuff they have.
Yep.
And if it's papers and it's pictures, I'd send them to Molly. If it's not,
Yep.
I have to put them on hold because I don't know what they would do with objects. Because right now it's on hold.
Yep.
So anyway,
Perfect. Yep. So
I think
process
that
for
that's good.
donations.
And if we are able to get a counter, then, or actually it doesn't have to be a counter, it can be anywhere, that we have a notebook that all this is in, so that anybody that comes in, any of us that come in and we're working on a project, then we can just fill it out and it's there.
Yeah.
So
I might have a policy from the Dyer, something about
I will
a
borrow.
policy that says when you donate this, we accept it. But if for some reason we have to, it's our property. I'm saying,
Yeah.
if we have to
Transfer the value or something.
accession to it, you know what I'm saying, weed it out. You know what I'm saying, we thank you, and we just can't keep everything or something like that. It has some language like that.
yeah, because that's
Perfect.
I've talked
Yeah.
to Todd about these busts, and he said
It all comes back to Teddy Roosevelt or whoever.
well, no, it's
No,
Woodrow
no.
Wilson that I
Woodrow
don't like.
Wilson. Okay, sorry.
But I think he thinks he can store them somewhere else within the building, and as long as they're in the building, the selectmen are. But this is always something too that we have to look at in putting together something. Is it something that we would donate to the society,
Exactly. Yeah.
or would it
Exactly.
be something that
Yeah.
we would keep in the commission? So
Is
that
it
we
pertinent
can
to our-
mark it and it's gone to the society,
Right.
so that we don't have to go through all this stuff with the selectmen. So.
Right. Or is it something that's really needed? Is it something, you know what I mean?
Is it part of our mission? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Well,
not.
I really, every
Stuff
time I
we got
look
in the
up at
hall.
that ice thing up there, I think that's definitely needed, that ice tin. And
right.
the wine glasses are not historic at all. They're just something that June had put together. So
Great. And as we do requests for info and
I have
stuff.
to look at what you're looking at. Sorry. Keep going.
Great.
so wine tasting.
Yeah,
things.
So I'll put you down, Mike, to
Yeah. I'll
send me the
yeah.
sample. Again, any kind of documents that we can use as an example works.
I have a binder from Dyer. Hopefully it's in there.
Ooh.
That's one of the things that I want to buy is decent binders.
Yeah.
'Cause some of these binders are falling apart. But things that don't need to be acid free. That we can, like something like this, it would make sense to have it all in one large
And
binder.
Mascor has them.
Do they?
Yeah. They have everything.
All right, send me the address and I'll take a look to see what.
I don't know if I should say this, but they do have jumpsuits. I don't know if they're orange by nature, you know what I'm saying, but I did see jumpsuits.
I think Mike would look really good in the jumpsuit. Sean, we can give each of you one,
Oh
and then
my
you
God.
can sit at the
Like a
table, and
correctional.
your mother will go, "What?
What?
You can't stay on that."
Yeah.
group."
Okay.
So take a look at the table contents. Get back to me with anything. Again, beat it up. Give us ideas. It works. Anything and everything. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So number 9, I think we've talked about, but I think if we can get counter with shelves underneath it, that we can have things stored, and then we can use the upper walls for other areas of storage.
Yeah.
This thing here is this. So I know that the two that we have from the Elder Center work, and Todd said that he will definitely bring them over. Now, the big problem that we have for that is we have to take everything out.
Mhm.
So if he gives me a date, then I think if we can get, again, a table out in the hall that we can put things on as he moves it in and then moves it out. So, because they're impossible to work with. And when I talked to Paula about, she said, well, none of the file cabinets close. Hers close. These do not. I mean, it's a bear to work with them. So I think if we I wouldn't mind something like that all the way around, but I think we need a counter that we can sit at, that we can do the work, that we can store things underneath it, and it just helps as to doing the research stuff. And one of the things that Mary has in the forms is I'm beginning to get people who want to know information. You'll be happy with this. I got a call today. Can you give me any information about the toll house? I went, no! We don't have a toll house in there. I think that this would be a really interesting story because nobody's ever done it before. Yeah. So I said, well, what about the planks? At any rate, I think I think if we can get that going and maybe use in the $500 that we do that before, that we can at least get that up and running while we're waiting for town meeting to pass the CPA and the grant money to be moved to get going.
I am friends with Dr. Hickey from South Chabot Tech as well. So I would have to talk to Mary Beth first because this is town hall again, and Todd. This isn't just you and I saying, oh, why don't we put that? You know what I'm saying? So, but I can approach him.
I've already started an email with Todd about the moving of things. So I'm going to ask him to come by when I'm here.
Okay.
And I'll see what he has and what he can do so that we're not.
No, I was talking about the building of counters or something like that.
So we'll see what he says as to what they do, and then if I'm meeting with Mary Beth, I can say that we need to, and then open that for you to talk to her with Mr. Hickey. How's that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So it goes from Todd to Mary Beth to you.
To Dr.
I can tell your wheels are moving. You're looking around like, I have equipment.
We'll do it this weekend.
I got some ideas.
I'm waiting for somebody to come in from the police department in Boston and say, where did you get all this? Okay, so I think we can. One of the things that there are two things with equipment. I have already sent an email, and I will be bringing this up with Mary Beth as well. I have sent an email to Josh about the fact that we are still missing equipment in here. And the fact that we have CDs, and there was a CD player in here, and it's no longer here. And I want it back, because if we are going to do reports, that's the next topic. We need to have good technology, and I understand that I have to go through him to be able to order anything. So I have already sent an email to him, and I'll be going after that further, and we'll report on it the next time. Because if we have CDs and we need to be able to play them.
Yeah.
And I did talk to Paul Watson tonight, and he has the name of a woman who in Hanson has interviewed elderly people in towns and has been able to get all kinds of information out of them. So he's going to get me her name, and I'm going to talk to her, but I want to talk to the head of the history department at the high school to have a high school kid go with her to make it a high school project so that we're involving the schools, because we need to think about where do we want to involve the schools, because it's part of the grant. Are you interested in that at all?
In the
in interviewing like senior citizens, and so like let's use Mr. Jubert as an example. Had I talked to Mr. Jubert before? I don't think I talked to him before the last meeting, but Mr. Jubert is almost 100. I think he's 97, and he's in the hospital right now. And his son Eric said that he had talked to his dad, and his dad was willing to talk to us. But he's the one who had the information that he remembered the Goulding Springs being on the stilts, and that area had stilts. So he also, do you know where the little cemetery is across the street from you? On Pine Street? If you go down
Yes.
Pine Street? So, when you're going into Pine Street, I questioned with Lonnie, and I've talked to Lonnie quite a bit. I asked why sometimes it's called the High Street Cemetery and there's no entrance to High Street. Why is it called that? She said she didn't really know because it just became that, and she thought maybe an entrance used to be there. And I said, no.
That's what I thought that there was on the other side of the house. But we'll talk later.
It's when you go into that cemetery, you'll see the two posts on either side of the entrance. It was a road straight down to Temple Street. And when you think about it, it makes sense. It went straight down to Temple Street. So the initial entrance to that was off of Temple Street. Off of 27.
Oh yeah, because we were talking about that dead end street before.
That dead end street was part of that entrance, but they closed it off when your father probably built the houses. So, it's something that I would have never thought of, except that when Eric was talking to his dad, he then texted me and said, my dad said that the entrance to the Pine Street Cemetery. So
I know, but there's a building at the other end. It is in an odd location.
That's where Eric Jubert lives.
At the end of the cemetery.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah,
You
he's in
access
the red
his
house.
house from.
He lives on High Street, so that makes sense.
Yeah, you access his house from my street. A long driveway.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the red house.
Yeah.
But his address is actually Pine Street.
Yeah.
So there is another house on High Street because Mr. Conley is the one who was looking to go to get information about his house. He lives right on the bend. He lives and it's an antique cape. It's exactly the same.
Whitman, the white one?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's been researching that, and that's a whole other thing with the Dyer. But he said something about back in that area. But you might be right. That might have been a second entrance that they made it off of High and then went down and closed it off. I don't know. But it's always Pine Street was always there.
It's just struck me as odd, but the location of the house, where the cemetery is, and how to get to the house.
Yeah. There's another one in there. There's another person in there because Mr. Conley mentioned it. He mentioned him as living behind him. He's an interesting guy. He's done a lot of research. I said, would you like to join the Historic Commission? He said, I'm involved in something in New Hampshire, and when I get out of it, he said, I'm coming your way. So, which that's in the next thing. Okay, so now we're at collaboration with Veterans Administration street signs.
Mm-hmm.
How in God's name did I get to Pine Street Cemetery off of office equipment? Would you guys keep me on?
Hey, you can't have history without tangents.
That's true.
That's one thing I learned from college.
Thank you. Under new business, collaboration with Veterans Administration. So Shannon Burke, the
BSO.
she stopped by and said that the DPW had taken down the old signs, which are heavy-duty signs, and that she's got them stored downstairs. But she thought that we might.
We wanted them at one time.
Did we?
Marie had requested them. She had gone down to see where they were and to make sure that they were in safe hiding in the DPW. But
So the old signs, but the new
they
signs
replaced the new.
them.
Yeah. They were. That's what actually spurred the project. Was there were only a few signs left. I'm saying, so they took them down and we replaced them with these new design that we have.
Had people been taking them because they were metal and they could sell them?
They had been missed. This is over the course of time. I'm saying yes.
I don't know how many signs there are, but she asked if we wanted them.
Yeah, there were about. I wouldn't say more than 6.
Okay.
I remember Hayes Ave because I remember seeing the Hayes Ave sign. That was one of them. I just remember seeing it. Say, "Oh, what's that?" You know, that kind of thing.
So this to me,
I don't know if we want them or you wanted to go to the
I think the
society. That's fine, but right now they're non-existent, in terms of a location.
So there are two things of collaborating with her, and I talked to her about collaborating with us because she, we have some of the Army pictures. She's got some of those. I have a flag up there. And she's interested in the flag. She's interested in stuff that we have that are veterans. But at the same time, we've got the GAR and all of that. That's more history than it is what she's doing. She's doing more, the definite veterans things. To me, so I'm going to go off of this.
Just pause this for a moment. We were on the collaboration
sign.
with the street
So
signs.
we finished that.
Okay.
And so now we're going to go to the Whitman anniversary celebration.
Sure.
And
Has the selectmen haven't officially
yes, they
appointed a
have.
committee? They have. Tonight they did it? Or
No, they did it at the last meeting because I walked in as they were doing it.
Oh.
I left here I flew to Pittsburgh on the 16th, so it was the 15th. It was Tuesday, I think it's the 15th. And
Okay.
as I came in, they said, and Rich Rosen is the chair.
Okay. Great. I didn't get to see the meeting vote, so I guess I didn't. I missed that.
Yeah, and then he approached me at the Taste of Whitman Hanson, and he said that the Historic Commission would be on it. And since then, I've talked to him, and he has said whatever we decide that we want to do, they will just incorporate it into what they're doing with the celebration. And I think that the grant, as the grant gets started and ends, that's as the celebration starts.
Yep.
So I think that we can do something around the grant so that we're not duplicating everything and putting more work on our shoulders. But we can talk about that as we get closer to it.
And I did. The finance committee chair did come into the clerk's office, and I did ask if anybody has proposed any funding with an article to fund the anniversary celebration, which would be standard. And he said, no, they haven't for this year. But I said, I know it kind of straddles both fiscal years,
yeah.
our celebration. So I don't know if they're planning
Right.
more on the next fiscal year after the current one coming up.
I think from what I can tell from what he said,
He meaning who?
Rich
Richard,
Rosen
yep.
is the chair. And I talked to him after he was appointed as the chair. He basically was saying he was getting his committee together.
Yeah.
So, and as soon as he does, then
Yeah.
we'll have it on the agenda.
Thank you.
I know, thank you.
Whitman Museum.
Whitman Museum.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
Just the Whitman Museum, that Rich Rosen also said that they are looking at sites for the museum, and he has several in mind that he didn't
Elaborate.
go into it.
Yeah.
So maps, histories, bodies of water. Lorna!
Am I going to find out about the Brigham Pond? I'm kidding. That was from the last meeting.
The Dyer they probably have they have a lot of maps. A lot of them are duplicates. I got to see what maps do we have?
That's a very good point.
Because maybe we have some duplicates.
Those aren't maps. Those are all newspaper articles. The maps are over here. But we were going to, we were talking about, and maybe we should talk about that for the next meeting, putting up some tables out there and bringing all the maps out. But by that time, too, we might be able to get the copies of the ones that you found. Tell them what you found at the Dyer.
Maps.
How do they relate to our town? Like what?
Which ones?
Which relate to our town, which is South Abington. A lot of the maps are South Abington. I have maps dating from 1808 to 1997. I mean, they have maps. Basically, they have about 14, I think, that really have Whitman. They have all kinds. I mean, they have bird's eye view map, and it was really interesting.
Did you work with anyone on the staff at the Merlin? Okay.
No, Merlin is not there until like April 16th.
Right, but who did you work?
Eileen.
Eileen. I thought you said Merlin, and you were mixing the names together. Okay. Well,
I took pictures of all my camera. I took pictures of all the maps too.
So good to know that
So
Eileen is somebody that you can go to, and you might want to follow up sooner rather than later.
Except that, what did Eileen tell you about when was the museum open?
Only on Tuesdays.
Right.
So she's
How
covering
come?
on Tuesdays. Merlin's on an extended. She's on a vacation. It's a longer vacation because
I know.
she's meeting with family and stuff like that.
But in that process, it's only open on Tuesdays. Eileen wouldn't be able, because I went in with Joe Conley on a Thursday,
Mhm.
and Eileen was very helpful. She there were several maps that you found upstairs. So they had maps in the upstairs room, but they didn't suggest that we go to the downstairs room to look at them. But Lorna got into the downstairs room with Eileen when Eileen
She
was there
walked
by
ahead.
herself.
Yeah, they have a big cabinet that you pull, cabinet that you pull out.
I just remember I got an email from it's from Merlin, but it was from Dyer Library, saying that she will be away. Jim saying, and that the library will be open on Tuesdays. Maybe she got the days wrong, but I'll forward you both the email that I got.
She was there when she was there.
On your day.
Was still there.
Yeah.
But she sat at the front desk, and Eileen and Mike were helping us in the back. Mike was doing his project, but Eileen stayed with us, and she had everything laid out. And when Joe Conley was he went to the Dyer. He called me, and that's why we have the thing about people looking at their information. And I told him that the maps and the tithe tax books from the earliest of Abington, and he got there and he was told that there were no such things. And I said, so call back and make another appointment and tell them I'm coming with you. And suddenly there was a box of them.
That's scared of you. That's scared of you.
Well, I didn't read
No,
it,
they know
and they know
that
it.
she has knowledge of them, that they
Yeah,
exist.
they are. I don't do anything, but I intimidate the hell out of them. But at any rate, no, I don't. I don't in particular know Eileen. She's wonderful.
Yeah. So the question is, can we make copies of those? Is that what the real?
Yeah.
Did you ask that question?
I didn't know. I just noticed they have duplicates of the same map. I wonder why can't we have one of the duplicates? I mean, if we don't have it.
That's a
I
good
mean,
question.
do they need 5 copies of the Village of... What was that one? In fact, I kept writing it down. It was the same. I said, oh, that's the same one that I already have.
How do we address
Village
that?
But we
The
just
village
need
of
an
South
additional
Abington.
copy of it. You know what I mean?
I'll ask them.
Okay.
Yeah, or they don't
need
have the capability of making copies of the large maps,
But
you
we
can
do.
certainly take them to.
Oh, we do?
Well, the building department has a large scanner. I'm not suggesting you'd have to talk first, smooth things out. I think the DPW also has for maps for their maps. I think they might have something. So maybe with that in mind, maybe the building department might see if there's something that they can
especially
do.
those
They're
that
willing to give
Yeah.
us copies.
they don't have duplicates.
Right.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Because some of those I thought are really good.
Yeah.
But maybe
But
we already have
why don't we talk to Eileen about this?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would get in touch with Eileen to see about going in next Tuesday, and then ask her, would it be possible to take these to the building department to make copies because they have. And if we have to sweeten the pie of having another copy made for them.
Right. I was going to say that. And if she's hesitant because you're not a Dyer person, you can just say, would you like a Dyer trustee to be with you? Do you know what I'm saying? And maybe somebody can, I'll go with you if you have
Are you just a
birthday.
trustee or are you the chair?
I'm both, but.
Yeah, see. Oh, he's going to pretend that he's not the chair. He has no weight over there whatsoever.
I would like to just run the meetings and
Gotcha.
that's it. But anyway.
Well, at least
And if
you're
we
not
could-
painting the back room.
No.
At any rate,
Next
see what you can do, and then
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah.
And if we can scan them too.
But now is the time to strike while the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably wants
Well-
to wait. A lot of she said. She
So where the
tried to
mice
wait
and the
till
cats
early.
away.
Yeah. Because they asked her questions, and she said, Merlin would know, but she's just an assistant or something. She said.
Well, when you do that, so this is where I think Mike's right. Then you say, well, we have a trustee that would be willing to
Escort
do
it.
this with us, escort it over.
Not this is the knowledge that I might have. They have also borrowed our sketchbook, and Merlin brought the sketchbook over to Dyer for
That's
a
the
short
GAR
period.
book.
The GAR book. So I mean, we have lent her and entrusted her with our materials. It might be possible that they could entrust us just to make copies of whatever it is they have.
Yeah, and she was happy with the fact that we could collaborate now. At which point she tried to get Peaceful Meadows. So, um,
These are the only maps we have, right?
no, there's some maps down.
We haven't
below
looked
my
yet, yeah.
roll.
We were going to open them up.
And-
Can we do that like on a Saturday? I know that sounds
Yeah,
awful, but
I have no
like
problems with doing it on Saturday.
because we can have more room out there
Yeah.
and we can look at things. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to commit people for the weekend.
No, I enjoyed the Saturdays
Yeah.
when we came up and had the tables out. I think that's great.
Mhm.
What do you guys think?
We can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
problem.
Good side.
Do you want a Saturday? Or do we want to wait to see if you get copies?
Why don't we wait till see what she
See what
has
you
to
get,
say?
and then we can pull them up. And then we can go to that place for the map,
Organizer, yeah.
the organizer.
NASCAR.
That would be great. Because, God, it's terrible when you start unwrapping it. And there must be copies of this. This is the one you don't have to make a copy of, Lorna. We have 250 copies of this sucker.
Oh.
Really? And now, how many do we have? Would you
Maybe
say
about 7.
7? Okay.
That a good map?
It is a good map.
Yeah.
What year is
But
that?
It's 1903, so
Okay.
we have, I see. This is one of the things that's a problem, is that behind Michael there is a book. There's a black book on the top there.
Yeah.
So look at that. If you can find a date of when that was in that book, I'd be remarkably pleased. How do you have a celebration and not put the year and the date of it?
Yeah.
So the maps, that's Marie's handwriting, and she identified that as 1903, but none of the others have that on it. So now I have like 7 of them in a roll that I've marked on the outside. These are 1903. But what's really good is you've got a lot of information about the streets here, and this is the side area over here, this little sidebar. That's where we found Corthell Street, where
Oh, yeah, with the,
where the Goulding,
bottom.
yeah. So, but the maps, particularly any Sanborn maps, and we can print those out of
And again, the sandboard maps are the insurance
the
maps.
insurance maps,
You mentioned, yeah.
and they've got them at the archives, but we can print them out. You can print them out from the internet.
Oh.
So that we've got those, and those are great because they'll show you, like with Mr. Conley, here's his central tape, and then it goes. But you have to be somewhere near some kind of an industry that was being insured. So like the Goulding bottling plant, that's why it's on some of the maps, is because it was being insured. So you can find the houses, like my house in Rockland, because it was near the Jenkins factory. It was a block from the Jenkins factory, which was good, and across the basin there was another shoe factory, and those 2 shoe factories could burn and take out the houses.
Right.
So it showed each time an addition was put onto the house. So you can get the dates of the houses. So
Okay, I did find one thing that has a date on it.
really,
Do I get a prize?
you do Star for your
Gold
credit.
star.
They didn't put it in there. They just happen to have a picture.
Oh yeah, 1982.
1812 to 1962. Is that that's 150, right? Did you say 250?
Whose book is that?
It's-
I mean, my
it's
math
like
isn't that
celebrations.
good, but that's 150
Stone.
years. So it must be from
I think
1712.
It's Whitman, but I think it's the Tri-Town. So they have these Tri-Town
Oh, yeah,
ones
yeah.
too.
They invited us to graduating classes. 1962. There you go. Whitman Hanson. They did invite us to participate, and they had a celebration. When did they have their celebration?
Who, Abington?
Was it 2012? It must have been 2012 then. Jim
Yeah.
saying they invited us. There weren't that many participants from
Well,
Whitman.
when they had the 3 books, that was some sort of Abington Day celebration.
Okay,
All
we're
right. So
Senior-
you've got your marching orders.
Yeah.
Okay. Senior interviews. As I said, we've already talked about those, so we don't really need to. I don't think we need to go into that. But the people that we have is Mr. Jubert.
Who do you have?
Hmm?
Mr. Jubit, yep.
Mr. Jubert and
B.
Lonnie
Jubert.
gave me a couple of people.
Because I have a name
Dennis
too.
Chick
Okay, yeah.
Dennis
and
Chick.
Henrietta Torrey. No, that's not right.
Okay.
I have Donald Avery.
Donald Avery.
Is somebody mentioned that? Okay, because
Donald Avery.
he was a businessman, and so he knew everybody.
And
Kind
he
of like
wants to be heavily involved in this.
Oh, good.
He told me. I talked to him for quite a while.
Yeah.
And both he and Lonnie mentioned Dennis Chick.
Yeah.
And the other one is Mr. Getchell.
oh, Mr. Getchell.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one that you're referring to. That's 97. He's on School Street. Yeah, he's living with his son.
Eric said yes. He's living with Gina and Gina's sisters, my best friend. So it was Eric who told me that Mr. Jubert, he said he was in his 90s, and that he's been in and out of the like that day that I thought he had died, because somebody had told me he died. So at any rate, and so we've got and somebody mentioned a woman. And I'll have to go back and figure out where that came from. There's a woman who's and the other one's the Baker brothers.
Oh yeah.
They both want to do it.
Yeah.
So we've got like 6 to start with, and those would be really great for the anniversary as well. So
Can I make sure I got this right? Mr. Jubert, Mr. Dennis Chick, Donald Avery, Mr. Getchell. We have a woman, question mark, and then the Baker brothers.
yes,
Okay, perfect.
and that's Leon and Larry, I think.
Lee, I think.
Lee and Larry Baker.
No, it's
Leon.
Leon.
It's Leon. No, not Larry though.
No.
It's Lee, I think. Lee Baker and Leon
Okay,
Baker.
because two of them have died. Or no, Lenny died.
Yeah.
So those of you who are not from
Yes,
Whitman,
once.
that's Lenny Baker of Shaman now.
there a long time ago.
Yeah, David Baker. I'm friends with his father. I think it's Lee. You know what I'm saying? He's from Hanson. He lives in
Okay,
Hanson.
yeah, he
but
said
Leon's
he's
the one
in
at School
Hanson.
Street in Whitman.
Yeah.
Leon
And he
Lee.
has. I was supposed to go over this past Friday, and then he had a doctor's appointment. They called him in for a doctor's appointment. He has a whole second floor that's loaded with antique pictures of Whitman.
Great.
And so I told him that I'd be happy to separate it out with him. And I haven't been upstairs. I've seen what he has downstairs, and there's a lot.
Yeah.
So I may be coming to you guys to say
What do we
we
field trip?
need to have a whole
Yeah.
thing over there. Because he wants them to come here.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's great.
Richard is not old, Richard Rosen, but he has so much knowledge because his father was a businessman.
Richard Rosen.
Yeah, I just the things he could tell you about Whitman is also
last station.
very interesting. You know.
Oh my God! When I met with him, it was remarkable the amount of information he gave
What
me
is that?
about this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
But he also, we talked about the different things he's done in town, and I think this town is so active in the evening and the walking around in the park and his 2 restaurants and people don't like the fact that he did the business plan for Jamie's when it was being sold that it can't be a restaurant, but he's trying to reactivate the center of town,
The downtown area.
and which is another thing I got a call today from an architectural firm. Somebody is interested. What other building in the center of town is for sale besides the property where the building came down, and then there's the Santander Bank and Mason's, Mason and Mason.
Oh yeah, Mason.
Those are the 3 that would be still in that center of town part of the survey.
Yeah. So what are you asking us?
They want to know how the historic commission would feel about an addition to an historic building. And I said, we'd work with you. We wouldn't block it.
That's got to be.
But they wouldn't tell me which building
It's got
it
to be the
was.
fire station. That seems like
I would
the
say
most
it was
historic
Mason
looking.
Mason.
The Santander building
Yeah.
isn't even old. Well, it's old, but not.
Well, she was covering it by saying it's a Boston firm,
That's got to be.
and she said they didn't want to be known, so that they were having this group come forward. And I gave them a bunch of information about it being walking territory and how active it was in the evening and the whole center, what's been activated, and the fact that the Regal building has been activated. And I talked to her for about a half an hour, and I said, so without saying which building it is, because you can't tell me that, I'll at least give you an idea of the flavor of what we're trying for.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the fact that the planning board has chosen Pond Street for the construction of the housing, and she was interested in that. But I don't think that's the building that they were talking about, because who the hell would want to put an addition on that? So, so there's somebody interested. and they may approach us, and that was what the finance.
It could be a building that we don't know either. I'm saying
Yeah.
that they're not disclosing.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe that. Yeah, it isn't the one that was destroyed. She was surprised that one had come down. I said, "You're not looking to buy it because that's up for sale again."
Yeah, I didn't know.
So, how do we find
Not
out?
just that, not Minaj Jewelers too. It's on that Spellman block.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
right.
I don't know what he's
Oh,
going
I
to do with that
forgot
either.
about
Do you know what I'm
that.
saying?
Across from.
The town hall, yeah.
And it has a parking lot next to it that they could add to.
Yeah.
Just an idea. Yeah.
I would. Adding to a building is not a problem if they said, "Well, what do you think about picking it up and moving it?" You know, we used to have that in the historic
Yeah.
district in Whitman or in Rockland, and that was like, "No, you don't move a French mansard to where a trailer park is now." Sorry. At any rate,
Fine.
so we've talked about the finance committee. We've talked about the history museum.
Yep.
So I think we're done.
Do you want to have a motion to adjourn?
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.